The Vancouver Canucks might have serious implications going into this season with three goaltenders as Silovs' agent speaks out on his expectations, and we get an update on what the Canucks will be running in Game 1 for the preseason. We're going to break down this and more later on this episode. Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that helped us reach 4,500. It's awesome to see this community grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all off season into the season, which is just a few days away, giving you updates on everything to do with the Canucks. For that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is this could cause serious implications for the Canucks. Now, obviously, you're saying, Mark, why is this going to cause implications? The Canucks have three goaltenders, but we do see Silovs' agent speak out, and Elliotte Friedman spoke about this on 32 Thoughts. He said Silovs' agent has made it known to the Canucks that he wants to be in the NHL this season. Now, Griffin, just looking at this, obviously Silovs looked dominant in the playoffs. He played well in the regular season, and he's played well at every level. He's played well in the AHL. He's played amazing on international ice. He's played great in the NHL with the Vancouver Canucks. But do you think there is a world, maybe a guy like Lankinen comes in, steals the backup job to Silovs, and this kind of just alters the relationship between the Canucks management and Silovs?
If anything, I think it's going to motivate Silovs even more. We've seen how hungry he is coming into this season. After last season, his first experience in the NHL was the intensity of the playoffs. So he's going to be used to that just being the norm and just wanting to just be hungry to just compete and try and bring home the hardware and potentially be a Vezina caliber candidate one day. But if he's going into this season, he wants to play. He's shown that initiative. And with the Latvia team qualifying tournament, like we were going to talk about in a minute here, he sat out from that because he wanted to make sure he was ready for this season. He's going into this season knowing that Thatcher Demko isn't going to be back 100% for a while. So he's going to maintain that spotlight and maintain that top spot while he can. And he's not going to let anybody stand in the way of that. No matter how good Lankinen plays, I think Silovs is going to be even hungrier, and he's going to take that as a personal competition for himself. It's going to make the team better, but he's going to be even better between the pipes as a result of that.
And the biggest thing is, when you look at the season with the Vancouver Canucks, an .881 save percentage, he did have a good year, but like you alluded to, talking about Team Latvia, he did have a few quotes, and this is from Canucks Army. He said, "It was my decision. The national team head coach was asking if I was ready to play or not, and I was skating like twice in 2 weeks, and I was like, I better take it off. I'm not in the area I want to be, representing the country, and I want to be 100%, not 80. He feels great right now, which is a big thing, and you need to look at this. As we were looking at Silovs, we were looking at Demko, wondering if both guys would be healthy, but seeing Silovs saying he does feel great, he didn't feel 100%, so he didn't want to represent Latvia. He continues on to say, I had to look in the future too. It's a short tournament, only 3 games, so I had to think more about my career. Being healthy for the season rather than playing like 2 games and rush something up. I was confident in our core for the national team," he said. "I was confident enough that we're going to manage it and win," which they did, and they did qualify. So Silovs was right, but seeing him put his future ahead of him saying this is only 3 games, I have my career ahead of me. He wants to be ready for the Canucks. He knows he has that grasp where he can reach out and try to steal the starting role from a guy like Thatcher Demko. With only having 9 regular season games and 10 playoff games, we want to see Silovs really dominate out of the gates, but there is a bit of a battle when you have a guy like Kevin Lankinen coming in who will be the backup to start the season for the Canucks. When you look at Lankinen, 4 years in the NHL, 2 with the Chicago Blackhawks, 2 with the Nashville Predators, 29 years old, he has 112 games, and you can look through his stats: a 905 save percentage over his career, 909, 891, 916, and a 908 during the span with some teams that weren't so good. Lankinen wants to come in and prove that he has to be on an NHL roster. This is a guy that we've seen a lot of people speculating might ask for $1.5, $2 million on the open market. The Canucks got him for under $900,000. So Griffin, looking at this, looking at Silovs wanting to stay in the NHL, and looking at a guy like Lankinen that wants to prove that he belongs in this league, do you think this is going to kind of propel the goaltending situation?
I think we're in a time where no matter what's happening with the goalies in Vancouver, there's always going to be controversy and there's constantly going to be developing drama. And this is just another chapter in that saga, and I can't wait for it. I think Silovs sitting out that tournament was key, where he is more worried about his career rather than a few short games where he knows they were going to get it done. They did get it done, like you said, so he is relaxed in that sense. But him wanting to just be 100% for this season, it goes to show that he knows that this city, this team, and this culture of Vancouver Canucks hockey has embraced him fully as the guy if Thatcher Demko isn't ready to go. So if you have a guy like Lankinen who hasn't won over that city, that team, in that organization and that culture in a way that Silovs has, it's going to be very hard for him to make a name for himself as the temporary starting goalie or the 1B when Thatcher Demko does come back. I think we have three guys that are going to be great in Abbotsford with Batera, Talopil, and Young. But I think it's going to be key to make sure that Lankinen is just one of those guys who's just ready to go if he needs to go. I think he'll be the number 2 for Silovs until Demko comes back. Then when Demko comes back, I think they're going to put Lankinen as like the emergency goalie, because we know that Vancouver goalies have a tendency to get hurt, so they want to have him as an insurance policy. I don't view him as anything more than that, as an insurance policy when Thatcher Demko is healthy and if there's other injuries, or just to make sure that Artur Silovs isn't overworked, because he's going to be in store for a big season, it seems.
And I mean, we looked at the Canucks last year. They had Casey DeSmith as the third-string goaltender in the playoffs. Yes, we've seen Demko go down. Casey DeSmith did get hurt, and we've seen Silovs take the reins. But having 3 goaltenders is better than forcing an AHL goaltender with no experience, which we almost kind of seen with Silovs, which he did dominate. But having 3 goaltenders, 3 guys you can trust, is bigger than having just one guy with no backup. So the Canucks are in good hands with that. I don't think management's going to push Silovs to the AHL, as they signed him to a 2-year deal and they know he's a part of the future. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think there's maybe some implications? Maybe a guy like Silovs does go down if Lankinen really dominates by the time Demko gets back? Let us know down in the comments, but we'll hop straight into the second topic, which is Canucks set to start preseason. Now, we know the Canucks are playing the Seattle Krakens tonight or today, wherever you are in the world. I know it's tight for me because I'm in Newfoundland and the games are very late. But looking at some of the lines, and we'll kind of go through these. Griffin, just looking at this top 6, the bottom 6, the defensemen, is there anyone that really stands out that you want to keep an eye on?
I think definitely your boy Jonathan Lekkerimäki being on that top line is something that everyone's going to be watching. It's interesting to see that Suter is at the center of that when they could have gone with a bit more different ones. We've seen some other positions. We could have seen Elias Pettersson in there or JT Miller, but they wanted to sit those guys out, make sure that they're all ready for the season. But if we have Lekkerimäki getting in there and getting top line experience, I think that's going to be great for him. And I think Garland is going to bring out a lot in Aatu Ratu and Niels Hoglander. I think he's going to be one of those jump starts that they need to get a little bit more confidence going. That's going to be a very speedy line, and I can't wait to watch those guys be banging it out. But I think Jonathan Lekkerimäki is the one that everybody is going to be watching, especially because he is on that top line. And when the power play is going, everyone's going to be watching Lekkerimäki, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Lekkerimäki is going to stand out this game. A guy like Ratu is going to have a good game. We've seen him dominate in this kind of training camp leading into this as well. You look at the bottom 6 too, and a guy that's going to be interesting to watch is a guy like Sammy Blais, who is on a PTO. He's playing for his career right now. He's playing to get a contract with his team. I'm expecting at least 50 hits from this guy, not really, but close to it, I'd say, from Sammy Blais. But looking on the defensive end, I really like the DPD with Hronek. DPD is a guy that's quite interesting for me. We've seen him look good during the Young Stars tournament. He's looked good during the preseason, well, leading up to the preseason, I should say. Pairing him on the top line with Hronek, I think we're going to see DPD really start to shine. He's a big defenseman. He can be mobile. He's going to throw hits, and it kind of alludes and shows that in the future, maybe we do see a second pairing of DPD with Hronek, Hughes with a new partner. Who really knows on this? But what's your thoughts on Silovs? Do you think he's going to have a good game? Because I know that's pretty much an obvious question.
I think, yeah, he's definitely going to have a good game. He's going to want to come out and just make a splash right off the bat. Yes, it's preseason. Yes, we don't have to go all out on the first preseason game. But I think Silovs is definitely going to do that just to show, hey, I'm not worried about Kevin Lankinen. I'm just focused on getting into this season, getting back to what we were doing, and making the Artie party just continue to rage on. And I think it's going to be a great show to watch for sure.
Yeah, the Secretary of Defense is going to be on full showing. And I think a guy like Ty Young will get a few reps during this game. Maybe they do the split start on this. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, get a new guy like Derek Forbert down on the third pairing as well. But what's your guys' thoughts on this game? What do you expect the final score to be? Who are you most excited to watch in this preseason? And who do you think is really going to come out and shine and be the diamond on the rough for the Canucks team? Let us know down in the comments. But speaking on comments, we'll get in everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. The comment today comes from Burnsy, and he says, I was at the Canucks scrimmage today. Shout out to you, Burnsy. That's awesome. Let me know down in the comments, anyone that's watching this, are you going to any games this year? Are you going to any season openers? Are you going to anything Canucks at all? Let us know down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode, so keep your eyes out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Griffin, and take care.